just looking at the actual play, I thought we were really strong tonight. In terms, I really felt that was closer to one of our more complete games of the year. And my first thought, too, is their goalie had a whale of a game. He saw 49 shots. That's quite a bit of pucks on net. I'm happy, too, about the fact that we were able to tie it late, So, even though we were playing well, they took a 3-2 lead late in the game. We probably 8 minutes to go, and we stayed on task. We kept coming. And all in all, very pleased. Like to see, on the power play, if you were looking for a negative on us, I still thought the power play had some good looks and did some good things, but a little despondent over we gave up the shorthanded goal. So, if there was one area, but all in all, boy, I'd be hard-pressed to pick a guy that didn't have a good game. One guy that I thought was excellent, really I thought had a strong game was Kenny Babinski, and he had 2 huge block shots and then obviously the tying goal, but I thought he really had a strong performance for us.
Going in between the pipes with Darren Smith, didn't get much action early. Kind of hard to get into the game if you're a goaltender and you don't have that much action there in the first few minutes of the game. Can you maybe analyze his performance?
Well, it was almost if I was a college professor, I'd give him an incomplete because he really didn't have a lot of work tonight. But that's his responsibility to make sure, it's tough when the other guy sees a lot of action. He's really in the flow of it. You're not getting much, but, that it's his responsibility to stay on task and keep his mind sharp. And, whether it's moving around a lot in between whistles or whatever he needs to do to stay focused. But when the other guy at the other end of the rink's playing that well, you got to gear up your game. You got to make sure you're ready to. And the best goalies are up for that challenge and like that challenge.
And again, going back to Kenny Babinski on the goal or on the shift, he gave up the 3rd goal of the game. Babinski had 2 blocked shots. He was really hurt and trying to get off the ice there, and then he comes back and gets the tying goal minutes later. What kind of toughness and leadership does that show from a senior standpoint on Kenny Babinski's part?
Well, that's really winning hockey. I was so thrilled he was the guy that got that 3rd goal just because of the 2 big blocks, and he was hurting. And for him to come up with those 2 big blocks and go down and score, funny thing is we pulled the goalie, but the reality is I don't think we ever got the 6th attacker in there. He was on his way down to that end of the ice. But to see him get that, I just thought that was very apropos. I really did. I thought, I was thrilled to see him get the 3rd goal.
Corey Mackin had been in a bit of a scoring slump and moves down to that 4th line on paper, comes out tonight, scores a goal 2.5 minutes into the hockey game. And again, you look at Corey Mackin and sometimes you just wonder, where does some of this stuff come from? Bats it out of the air, puts it in the net. And can you maybe go take us through his game tonight and how you felt about him?
Yeah, like a lot of the other players, I thought he had a strong game. I thought their line had a very strong game. Now, with that said, there's components of his game that have got to improve. I think his fingerprints might have been on their first goal. I'd have to watch it, but it was at the end of one of our power plays. He was out there, and, I just thought his fingerprints were a little bit on that. From a defensive standpoint, there's areas to improve, and that's what we're trying to work with him at. Obviously he's got some really high-end offensive talent. He's got some really good ability. He's got a good stick. I think he's got a good tenaciousness on the puck. It's just, inside our blue line, we got some areas there we got to shore up a bit.
In the end, you come out with a point and maybe a little bit disappointed with the power play tonight as it unable to convert so many shots on goal and so many power play chances as well. And what's got to change to fix that and maybe get 2 points tomorrow against Alabama Huntsville?
Well, we can't say we need more shots. I think we had 15 shots on the power play, so it's not as though, we need more shots. Now, you've got to give Huntsville a lot of credit, though, in terms of their penalty kill because they do a good job. They don't get themselves out of position. I think they do a nice job of pressuring the puck up ice, pressuring it through entry into the zone, making it difficult to set up. But once you're set up, they're really disciplined in terms of shot lanes, and they don't really get themselves out of position. So, we'll look at some different things and some different wrinkles and try to come up with something. But, we did get a lot of pucks to net. We did have a lot of good looks. We just didn't convert on those chances on the power play. So, but there are some things there we'd like to tighten up, certainly.
Kenny had a couple of block shots there. Probably didn't feel too good at the end of the game, but you're able to get back on the ice a few minutes later, score the tying goal, and maybe take us through that shift where you guys gave up the goal, but you had those block shots.
Yeah, at the first block shot, I took off, I think, one of my wrists. I went to clear it, didn't get it out, was a little disappointed in that, and then I think we had another chance maybe to get it out. I had another block shot off my wrist, and I think it just laid there and under me for a little bit. They ended up picking it up and putting it in the back of the net. I was a little disappointed, but I don't know if Coach said, but he came up to me and told me, a good block shot there, and that gave me a little confidence for the rest of the game.
It was a tough play, and then you come back late in the game, and extra attacker just barely gets on the ice when you put it in the net, and maybe take us through that play now.
Yeah, I think Simone broke it out to me in our zone. I came up the left wall, slid it to Robo. He came down the left wall. He made a great play to delay, threw it back up to the point. I think it went D to D, and Simone threw a nice shot on net, which was good for us to get pucks on net. I think I got a stick on it and went off his pad. Mac was doing a good job screening. It came right to me and popped it in.
A lot of shots on goal tonight. You approached 50, and can be a little bit tough, a little bit frustrating when you have a goaltender at the other end that just seems to be swallowing up everything. And what's got to change tomorrow to get maybe one more on him?
He's a good goaltender. Like you said, we put up around 50 shots. That's what we need to do to score. You can't score unless you're shooting. I think one thing we do need to do, which we noticed he did, was he gave up a lot of juicy rebounds. So when we are shooting, I think getting to the net and burying them is key.